Hello, it's Dr. Ariel Schwartz, and I am here to celebrate the launch day of the Applied Polyvagal Theory in Yoga book. This book is filled with therapeutic practices for emotional health, and I am so proud. I tapped a few spots in here because I thought I would do just a little bit of a reading from the book for you today and give you a sense of what to expect. And thank you to all of you who have already ordered the book. You have helped make this pre-launch phase such a success. It's been so beautiful to watch this book sit at #1 on the Amazon charts for several times during this phase, and it's just been really exciting time. So I wanted to share with you a little bit about the focus of the book, which is bringing in polyvagal theory and yoga, and really for this book about how we bring this in psychologically to attend to our mental health when we're working with clients. And of course, that also includes working with ourselves because it's our presence that really provides the foundation for the successful work. So, I'm going to read a little bit from the beginning of the book, from chapter 1. This is called Science, Soma, and Soul. In our modern world, yoga is most commonly associated with physical postures and conscious breathing, and often we see images of slender bodies and pretzel-like shapes. However, with deepened study, we recognize that yoga is better understood as both a practice and a life philosophy rooted in East Indian culture. In Sanskrit, the word yoga is derived from the root syllable yuj, which means to yoke or create union. Sometimes we think of this as a path to uniting mind and body, but in truth, body and mind are already one. The union we seek already exists, and the practice of yoga invites us to awaken our senses so that we might experience the wholeness that already exists within us. As a tool for self-discovery, the practice of yoga provides ample opportunities to explore our own phenomenological experience of self in relationship to the world. Through mindfulness, we take the seat of the witness, which allows us to observe with curiosity the subtle changes that occur when we change how we move or breathe. Curiosity helps to reduce our tendency to be judgmental, and we learn to sense our inner landscape as an ever-changing dynamic system that helps us to adapt to the world around us. Yoga is not only a holistic approach to physical, mental, and emotional well-being, but it also offers opportunities for spiritual reflection. The practice is an invitation to discover the quiet, still, unchanging self that resides in the depth of our being. I'll share a little bit from chapter 3 in a section that refers to centering. Centering is a place to come into a place of that unchanging core. From a polyvagal perspective, we recognize that self and parts are manifesting as different psychological states. So one of the aspects of this chapter that I should mention is that it brings in internal family systems and looks at it through the polyvagal lens and through the yogic lens. So we can imagine how the self resides in the security of the social engagement system that facilitates a felt sense of presence, compassion, and ease. In contrast, we might notice a part that is in defensive, sympathetically driven fight response that leads us to protect ourselves fiercely or aggressively. Another part might carry our needs to flee an unsafe situation, or a part might hold a submissive or helpless state of being from which there is no known strategy to seek connection or reestablish a sense of safety. At times, competing needs are carried by parts that become polarized. For example, one part might carry our need for closeness, but another part might fear losing our autonomy and, as a result, withdraws from connections. These polarizations can lead to feelings of anxiety, indecision, self-sabotaging behaviors, and in some cases, dissociation. In therapeutic yoga, we have ample opportunities to befriend parts of ourselves that carry our wounds. With practice, we learn to turn towards all of our emotions and sensations with curiosity, compassion, and self-acceptance. We learn to attend to our vulnerable feelings with loving care. In the IFS model, internal family systems. The self is understood to be untouched, undamaged, and a source of wisdom. And we access the self by focusing on the here and now and cultivating a compassionate witness to our present moment experience. Centering in the self facilitates a secure footing within the window of tolerance so that we can eventually broaden our capacity to remain present with a wider range of sensations and emotions. And while there's so much more to share, and one thing that I'll let you know is that throughout the book, I have sprinkled some case examples and what this looks like in practice. And then I've also chosen for you specific practices, whether they're breath practices, whether they're balancing practices, and physical practices, but gentle practices that can be brought into the therapy session, or that can be brought in for one-on-one therapeutic yoga sessions as well. So I'll share a little bit from the final chapter, and then I'll let you discover the rest on your own. The final chapter is in regards to calming or settling into stillness. Here we speak about how the aim of yoga practices is to invite us to turn inward, to turn toward and reduce our identification with protective layers of self so that we can eventually connect to the deeper reality of who we truly are. From a polyvagal perspective, expanded states of consciousness, creativity, and spirituality require that we let go of defensive self-protection by engaging in our ventral vagal pathways. When we have a history of trauma, we may need to progress slowly toward practices that facilitate stillness and deep rest. Because letting go of physical tension can be deeply vulnerable and lead to greater awareness of uncomfortable emotions or sensations. Applied polyvagal theory helps us to refine a trauma-informed approach to relaxation and meditation by inviting us to attend to present moment cues of safety, connection, and choice. So in a world that sometimes feels as though it's spinning out of control, we may begin to feel that we have lost our bearings, and we need these practices that help us to find equanimity. Equanimity helps us stay present in the midst of challenging life moments, and we can learn to connect to an inner stillness even in the midst of the surrounding chaos. So that is my biggest prayer. My hope for you is that this brings you personally a sense of solace and gives you those tools to help others find that within themselves. And again, thank you so much for helping me celebrate the launch day of the book.